Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. So glad to have you with us for our 9th episode. Today we're taking a look at something really interesting, the connection between childhood memories and those time capsules you always hear about.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept, isn't it? It's not just about digging up an old box in the backyard. It's more about, how we can kind of intentionally capture what makes childhood so special. So how do we keep those memories alive for ourselves? And how can we share them with future generations?
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever wished you could just hold on to a specific moment? You know, those feelings of just pure joy and that sense of wonder, like anything was possible.
Right. And it's not always the big events either, right? A lot of times it's the little things, the small everyday moments that, looking back, they really shaped who we are.
Oh, that is so true. It could be something like the smell of, cookies baking at your grandma's house. Or the theme song from your favorite cartoon, or even just the feel of a well-loved toy. It all just takes you right back.
And there's a reason for that, Research shows that our sense of smell, it's directly tied to the emotional part of our brains, which is why a familiar scent can unlock these super vivid memories. It's almost like a time machine back to your childhood.
Wow, it really is like having a superpower. And speaking of superpowers, what about those classic toys? The ones that defined our childhoods? For me, it was all about Beanie Babies and those old school Etche sketches. They weren't just toys, they were tools for imagination.
It's interesting how those toys, they become more than just objects. I was reading this article the other day about how they basically become cultural artifacts. They don't just represent personal memories, but shared experiences across a generation.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They really are like little pieces of history, each with its own story. But as cool as these toys are, we can't actually freeze time, can we? So how do we make sure these precious pieces of our past don't fade away?
And that's where time capsules come in. They offer a tangible way to connect the past, the present, and the future. It's like sending a message in a bottle. But instead of throwing it in the sea, we're carefully preserving it for future discovery.
And they come in all shapes and sizes too, right? You've got personal ones, family ones, and even historical ones. Like I was reading about this thing called the Crypt of Civilization, which is this massive time capsule. It was sealed back in 1940. And get this, it's not supposed to be opened until the year 8113.
Wow, that's incredible. It just goes to show you time capsules, they can be designed for any purpose, whether it's remembering a personal event, or preserving a family legacy, or even capturing what life was like for future generations.
Okay, so let's say you're ready to make a time capsule. What kind of things would you put in it? What objects would really capture the essence of your childhood, your experiences, your hopes for the future?
That's a great question, because it really gets to the heart of it. If you're going to represent yourself to the future, to your future self, or maybe people you haven't even met yet, what would you choose? The possibilities are pretty exciting.
I know, right? I've heard a lot of people include photos and letters. I think there's something really special about handwritten notes.
Yeah.
Especially in our digital world today. It just feels more personal than a text or email.
And don't forget about our sense of smell we were just talking about. How powerful scent-based memories can be. So including a favorite perfume or even just a little bag of dried lavender could evoke a whole wave of emotion for whoever opens that capsule years from now.
Oh, that's a great idea. And speaking of senses, what about making a playlist of your favorite childhood songs?
Yeah.
Music can transport us back to specific moments like nothing else. All those emotions come flooding back.
Absolutely. And speaking of capturing those precious moments, what about old family videos? The ones with the grainy footage of you blowing out birthday candles, or maybe attempting to dance at a school recital? Those are pure gold.
Oh, they're the best. Hilarious to look back on now and totally irreplaceable. And to kind of keep it that family theme, how about including some of those iconic toys or replicas? We were talking about them earlier.
Oh yeah, that's a must-have. Imagine opening a time capsule and finding a Beanie Baby or a worn-out etch, a sketch. It's a direct link to the joys of your younger self.
It really is like opening a treasure chest of pure nostalgia. I have another idea. What about including things that represent family traditions, like maybe a handwritten recipe card from your grandma, or a holiday ornament that's been passed down, or even a ticket stub from a memorable family vacation?
It's like creating a piece of family history, a way to ensure those traditions and those values live on for future generations. Those little details become anchors, connecting us to the story of our family.
They help us remember who we are and where we came from. But with all this talk about filling our time capsules, we haven't really touched on one crucial thing:
You're right, it's not enough to just throw random things in a box. We need to provide some context. Give future generations a way to understand what these objects actually mean.
Documentation is key. Imagine someone finding this box of random trinkets. They'd be thinking, what is all this? Who put this here and why?
Exactly. And most importantly, what did this mean to them? Without that context, those objects lose their power. They lose their connection to the people and the stories that made them important in the first place.
That's why I love the idea of writing a letter to your future self. You get to explain the meaning behind the items and share your thoughts and dreams about the future.
It's like having a conversation across time, a way to share your story with those who inherit your legacy long after you're gone.
It's a beautiful way to make sure that your memories and experiences continue to matter, even as time goes by. And, this kind of brings us back to what Capsulora is all about, helping people preserve and share the things that matter most to them.
That's right. What's so powerful about Capsulora is it offers this secure platform, a digital space where people can safely store their memories, their stories, and share them with loved ones, both now and in the future.
It's like having this digital time capsule that you can access anytime, from anywhere in the world. And one of the best things about it is you don't have to worry about it getting lost or damaged or forgotten about.
Exactly. With Capsulora, those precious memories are safe and sound, and they'll be accessible for generations to come.
And speaking of staying connected, don't forget to follow Capsulora on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You'll find lots of inspiration and tips for making your own digital time capsules. We've got some great new content coming soon, so stay tuned.
We'd also love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite childhood memories? Have you ever made a time capsule? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. We want to keep this conversation going.
We truly believe that every story deserves to be told, and every memory is worth cherishing.
And as we always say at Capsulora, it's all for what matters most.
As you go about your day, think about those special childhood memories that still mean something to you. What memories would you want to preserve? For future generations, what stories would you like to share?
Maybe it's time to create a digital time capsule and join the growing Capsulora community. We're so excited to have you along for the ride as we preserve and celebrate the things that truly matter. It's interesting. We've been focusing on these like individual memories, but time capsules can also capture a shared experience or a moment in history. That means something to a whole community.
That's a great point. Like when a school or a town creates a time capsule to mark a big anniversary or an event, it's a way to document their story and show what life was like.
Exactly. And those community time capsules, they have a different kind of magic. They bring together all these different perspectives, artifacts, stories, and each piece kind of adds to a richer picture of the past.
Yeah, it's like putting together a historical puzzle where each piece gives you a clue about the bigger picture. And speaking of puzzles, let's get tactical for a second. How do you actually put together a time capsule, both a physical one and a digital one? Any tips?
Well, first things first, you got to choose a container that will last, that's suitable for what you're putting inside. If you're going for a physical time capsule, you need something that can really stand the test of time and protect those contents from the elements.
Yeah, that makes sense. A strong metal box or a really well-sealed plastic container, especially if you're burying it.
Absolutely. And when it comes to digital time capsules, make sure you're using a reliable platform like Capsulora, which we've talked about.
Okay.
Offers that secure storage and easy ways to share.
Yeah, security is so important, especially with those precious memories and personal information. You want to make sure those time capsules are safe and accessible for years to come.
I completely agree. And here's something else to think about. When you're choosing a location for your physical time capsule, think about a place that holds special meaning for you or your family, maybe your backyard near a favorite tree, or a spot where you have those happy memories.
Oh, I love that idea. Just adds a whole other layer. It's like anchoring those memories to a specific place.
And one last thing, before you seal up that time capsule, remember to make a list, a detailed list of everything you put inside. This will be so helpful for whoever opens it in the future, helping them understand each item and why it was included.
Right. It's like creating a treasure map, guiding future generations to the treasures you've hidden. Okay, speaking of treasures, let's talk about the emotional side of time capsules. What are some of the benefits for both the people who create them and those who discover them?
Well, for the creators, putting together a time capsule can be a powerful way to reflect on their lives, you start thinking about what's truly important, what you want to hold on to, what you want to share with the future.
It's like writing your own autobiography. But instead of words, you're using objects, photos, little mementos to tell your story.
That's a great way to put it. And for those who find a time capsule, it can be an incredible experience. Like you're looking through a window into a past you've only read about or seen in old photographs. It's a chance to connect with the people and events that shaped the world and to feel your own history in a more real way.
Like receiving a gift from the past, a message from those who came before, offering a glimpse into their lives, their hopes, their dreams.
And sometimes that gift can be incredibly powerful. It can inspire, it can educate, and even change the way we see the world, reminding us of those common human experiences that connect us across generations, despite the changes in culture and technology.
It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger story, a thread that runs through time. You know, as you're saying this, it strikes me how much creating a time capsule really fits in with Capsulora's mission, preserving what matters most.
Absolutely. Capsulora gives individuals and families the tools, the platform to gather, curate, and share their own unique histories. It's about celebrating those personal stories, those small moments that make up a life.
It's about recognizing that every story is worth telling. Every memory deserves to be treasured, and every legacy should be passed down. You know, in a world that often feels so chaotic and fleeting, that's a really powerful message.
It really is. A message of hope, connection, continuity, reminding us that even as time moves forward, our stories, our memories, the love we have for each other, it can last.
A legacy worth preserving. Okay, before we get too sentimental here, let's bring it back to our listeners. Any practical tips they can use to make the most of their time capsules, both physical and digital?
Yeah, so here's where a little planning comes in. Don't just throw things into your time capsule randomly. Think about the story you want to tell, the emotions you want to evoke, the message you want to send.
So it's almost like you're curating a museum exhibit, but instead of showcasing art or historical artifacts, you're presenting your own personal story.
Precisely. Choose items that have meaning, that represent you, and that will be interesting to look back on in the future. Include different things: photos, letters, videos, audio recordings, even small objects that hold special meaning.
And don't forget to label everything. Future generations will thank you.
Absolutely. Provide context, descriptions, little anecdotes to bring those items to life.
Here's a fun idea. Include a letter to the future. Share your thoughts, your dreams, your predictions for the world to come. It's a way to have a conversation across time.
What a great idea. It's like sending a message in a bottle, but instead of trusting it to the sea, you're entrusting it to time itself.
Speaking of time, let's talk about when to open a time capsule. Is there like a best practice for timing?
That's a good question. It really depends on the purpose of your time capsule. Some are meant to be open after a certain number of years, like 10, 25, even 50.
While others, like those historical ones we talked about, are meant to be discovered centuries or millennia from now.
Exactly. And sometimes the decision of when to open a time capsule is based on life events, like family reunions, milestone birthdays, or even times of grief or loss.
Like opening a treasure chest of memories when you need them most, when you cherish them the most, when they bring you the most comfort.
And sometimes those time capsules, they bring a sense of closure, connection, or even healing, reminding us of the lasting power of love, family, shared experiences.
This brings us back to Capsulora. How does the platform help people navigate these really emotional journeys, especially when it comes to preserving memories of loved ones who've passed away?
That's such an important question Capsulora offers, a very sensitive and thoughtful way to honor the legacies of those we've lost. It's a safe place to collect and share their stories, their photos, their videos, ensuring that their spirits live on through the memories we hold dear.
It's a way to keep those connections alive, to pass down those family histories, to celebrate the impact they had on our lives.
And sometimes it's simply a source of comfort. You know, a way to revisit those happy memories and feel close to those who are no longer physically with us.
That's beautiful. It's a reminder that our loved ones live on through the stories we tell, the memories we share, the legacies we carry forward.
And Capsulora provides this powerful platform to make that happen, ensuring those stories, those memories, those legacies are preserved for generations to come.
You know, as we're talking about this, it occurs to me that Capsulora could be a really helpful tool for families facing the challenges of Alzheimer's disease or dementia.
That's a very insightful point. Capsulora can be used to create, like a digital memory bank, a collection of photos, videos, stories, that can spark recognition, joy connection for people struggling with memory loss.
Yeah, it's like building this personalized time machine, letting them revisit familiar faces, places, and experiences, even as their cognitive abilities decline.
And for their families, Capsulora can be a way to work together, a shared space to contribute those memories and preserve those stories that might otherwise be forgotten.
It's a way to honor their journey, to celebrate their lives, to keep those connections alive, even as they navigate the challenges of memory loss.
And in a way, that's the ultimate purpose of time capsules, isn't it? To connect us across time, to bridge the gaps between generations, to remind us of that enduring power of human connection.
So well said. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to really think about the profound impact that time capsules can have, not just on their own lives, but on the lives of those who come after them.
Whether you decide to create a physical time capsule or a digital one, take the time to put it together thoughtfully. Fill it with meaning and entrust it to time itself. You never know whose life you might touch, whose heart you might inspire, whose story you might help preserve.
And remember, Capsulora is here to guide you on that journey, to provide the tools and the platform to ensure that what matters most is preserved and shared for generations to come. You know, it's amazing to think about the impact of something as simple as a time capsule. And it makes me realize that time capsules, they also kind of force us to think about our own mortality. You know, when we choose what to leave behind, we're acknowledging that our time here is limited.
That's a really profound observation. It's like that idea of memento mori, a reminder that life is precious. We should savor every moment. But instead of focusing on death, time capsules, they kind of encourage us to celebrate life, to capture those joyful moments, the meaningful moments that make our journey special.
Exactly. And in a way, by creating these time capsules, we're kind of transcending time itself. We're connecting with our past, reflecting on our present, sending a message of hope to the future.
It's like this ripple effect that extends way beyond our own lifetimes. Speaking of ripple effects, what about the impact of time capsules on society as a whole? What role do they play in preserving our shared history and culture?
Well, time capsules are super valuable. For historians, archaeologists, anyone studying the past, they offer like a first-hand glimpse into those bygone eras, giving us insights into everyday life, cultural trends, how technology has changed.
It's like unearthing a treasure trove of information, allowing us to piece together a more complete picture of the past. And sometimes, those time capsules, they reveal surprising things, or even controversial things about history that we might have overlooked or forgotten.
That's right. They can challenge what we think we know, broaden our perspectives, remind us that history isn't always a simple, straightforward story. It's this mix of different experiences, viewpoints, interpretations.
Absolutely. It's like time capsules allow us to have a conversation with the past, to learn from those who came before us, and to better understand our place in the grand scheme of things.
It's humbling to realize that we're all part of this massive interconnected web of human history. And time capsules, they also serve as powerful reminders to preserve our cultural heritage for ourselves and for future generations.
That's so true. You're in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification and fleeting trends. It's easy to lose sight of safeguarding the stories, the traditions, the things that make us who we are.
Yeah, time capsules really encourage us to slow down, appreciate what truly matters, take steps to ensure that those treasures are passed on to future generations. And it's not just about preserving objects, it's about capturing the essence of a specific time, the spirit of a community, the values and beliefs that shaped a generation.
Exactly. Creating a legacy that will continue to inspire, educate, and connect people long after we're gone. This reminds me of the importance of storytelling. Time capsules are, in essence, vessels for stories.
That's a great way to put it. It's those stories that bring the past to life. They allow us to connect with the lives, the hopes, the dreams of those who came before us. They make history feel more personal, relatable, even inspiring.
Absolutely. And by sharing our own stories, by creating our own time capsules, we're adding to that ongoing narrative. We're ensuring that the tapestry of human history continues to get richer, more vibrant with each generation.
It's that sense of shared humanity, connection across time, that makes time capsules so powerful, so meaningful. They remind us that we're all part of something bigger. Our lives have purpose, and our stories deserve to be told.
And thanks to platforms like Capsulora, Sharing those stories, making those connections, preserving those legacies has never been easier, more accessible. It's an exciting time to be exploring the world of time capsules, physical and digital. We encourage you to join us on this journey of discovery, preservation, celebration.
So what are you waiting for? Gather your memories, curate your stories, create a time capsule that captures the essence of your life and your legacy. You never know whose heart you might touch, whose mind you might inspire, whose life you might change.
And as we always say at Capsulora, it's all for what matters most. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into childhood memories and time capsules.
We'll see you next time.